So, do you think I should retell my story of when I fell off the side of the freeway?
I think you should.
Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Just Angelica J. I'm Angelica. So today I have a story time. A lot of you actually have heard this story. I've told it long ago. I've talked about it a couple times on this channel. I kind of took the video down. I feel like let's really do this story justice with a little bit more visuals. I did a little bit of research of where this took place so you can kind of get a visual of what I went through. So let's get started. And I'm going to start by saying, I know I've been telling like spooky, scary stories, but sometimes life is stranger than fiction. Life is scarier than spooky stories. So let's start. This takes place in the mid to late 90s. I was 19 and I was on my way to a job interview. And for those of you familiar with the Houston, Texas area, I was on the 610 West Loop, headed towards the Galleria area. That's where my interview was. And I was driving a 1989 Chevy Beretta. It was my first car that my dad bought me. This particular incident would also be the first time I experienced anything like this. So it was just scary all the way around for a teenage girl. So it's early in the morning. You know, morning traffic rush. I'm on the 610 West Loop. And like here, I'll show you on this like little Google map, I was headed 610 towards the Galleria. And you can see here where the 59 splits off to the right. Well, I wasn't going to go that way. I was headed 610 and I was going to exit Westheimer. I was going to continue on 610. But, and let me paint you this little picture. I'm in morning traffic. I'm so young and just eager to get into the workforce. I was, adulting. I was dressed for this interview. I had a brand new blouse on, this cute little pencil skirt, and I had some Mary Janes on, these brown leather Mary Janes that I love to wear. They were comfortable, but they were like office attire friendly. And, I was just very payless chic, very demure. Very considerate, very mindful of the job interview. I love that trend. I'm on the 610 West Loop. And at the time, gosh, as I'm telling this story, I'm old, I'm getting older. So I was listening to 104 KRBE, that is like the Houston radio station that I love to listen to, and listening to whatever was, trending at that time. So I'm driving and all of a sudden, I don't hear anything. Traffic really is moving kind of slow for those of you that commute during the work day. For those of you that drive in Houston know what a headache it is. So I start feeling this tug on my steering wheel. It's very strange, but I want you to understand, I have never experienced anything like this. I'm 19 years old, just very new to being an adult. And so my steering wheel starts to tug to the right. And I'm like, this is strange. And I'm like slowing down. I'm like, this is weird. What's going on? So I did not realize until like 5 to 10 seconds in, I had a flat tire. Never in my life had I ever been driving. Mind you, my dad bought me this car when I was 18. I'm 19. So I don't really have this long history of like, vehicles breaking down on the freeways of Houston. Okay, so I realized, oh my gosh, I'm panicking. I turn the music down and I realized I gotta get off this freeway. And I could not continue to go straight on 610, so I take the 59 split off of the 610. And honestly, my car was tugging that direction anyway. I really couldn't, pull it back over. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just turn. Let me go with the flow here. And what I was trying to do was trying to exit the freeway. But I'm in a very tough, tight spot here because very busy freeway. People do not have the patience. I turn on my little emergency blinky lights. And first of all, blinky lights, my emergency signals. I realized later, the mechanic said, you know, it's one thing to get a flat tire in the back of your car, but this one was in the front. So essentially you really have a hard time controlling the car. If the flat was in the back, like two of the back wheels or one of them, I could easily turn and maneuver the car, or a bit easier. But because the flat tire was on the front right side, passenger side wheel, it was so hard to navigate this car. I'm trying to go as best as I can. I'm panicked. And I also want to tell you, this is a time where I did not have a cell phone. Remember, I was on my way to a job interview that would have been like my very first like real office job. And essentially I would have, you know, I did get a cell phone, but in this moment I had no cell phone. I couldn't even afford a pager. So there's that. So take the 59 split and I'm trying to maneuver the car. Very hard to do this. And I finally pull over to the emergency lane because the car just would not, it was just wonky. People were honking at me. People were just annoyed. So I pull over to the emergency lane, and where I'm at, and here, let's look at the Google Earth again. This is pretty much the area that I pulled over to the side of the road. As a matter of fact, I think the Houston Chronicle is right there. For those of you familiar with, you know, the Houston, Texas, greater Houston, Texas area. So I take that 59 split, I go as far as I can. I was really trying to go to the exit and I could not make it. So I'm in the emergency lane off to the shoulder of the freeway with a flat tire. Take a drink. Good coffee. So I am sweating bullets. I'm so nervous. And again, this was no cell phone. So there's like no help coming. I have to find a way to get off the freeway, cross the road, and go and find a phone. So I did see this office building close to where I was on top of the freeway. And I said, you know what, I was on the shoulder, and I want you to see for reference. This is why I am retelling this story. So do you see the shoulder of the freeway and how it has this little bitty wall? I was kind of leaning on the wall, and I remember my dad always telling me, and this is just a good thing to adhere to, when you break down on the side of the road or the side of the freeway, don't sit in the car or stand by the car. Get away from the car. This wall, the wall to me, while I was standing next to it, maybe it wasn't even 4 feet. It was a very short wall. So I said, let me just hop over this little wall, walk down, I take my stuff, and I'll just go use the phone. And I was going to call my ex at the time. I said, she's at home. She's a stay-at-home mom. She can come help me. Okay. So silly me. I hop over this wall. And the other side of this short wall is literally, it felt like it was like a 10-foot drop. Just take a gander at this. This is literally the very spot that I hopped over this freeway wall, and it dropped. It was not short on the opposite side. Thank you, freeway designers. Thank you for that. As soon as I hop over the wall, literally, it's like, it took like a split second to realize my mistake when, oh, where's the ground? So as I'm falling towards the grassy hill, I was in the moment realizing, oh my gosh. But even in that split second, I thought, oh, I'm gonna fall. I'll just have to get up and be careful. No, no, no. I hop over this little wall that looks little on top of the freeway, but once you get to the other side, it is a drop. And as soon as I hit the ground, again, so much goes on in my mind in that split second. I thought, oh, I'm just gonna brace myself, I'm gonna hit the ground, but it's okay. I'll get up, dust myself off, and go. No, no. So the momentum that Angelica created in this fall started like this insane rolling down the hill. Look, this is actual footage of me rolling down this hill from the freeway to the feeder. Yeah, that's me. As I'm rolling down the hill, again, in my brain, I'm thinking, surely I'll just, oh my gosh, goofy me, let me stop. I could not stop. It felt like I was rolling down Mount Everest. This was like the fall of the rolling of the hill that took forever to stop. And I was rolling, and with each roll, I was like, ooh, like literally, I was making these noises as I was just like, oh my gosh. And so I remember as I'm rolling, and let's be real, the rolling of like rolling down the hill probably was like a 30-second roll. I don't know. I didn't time it. But in my brain, it felt like an eternity. And just the building of the embarrassment. And then one of my shoes like flew off. And my purse, I don't know where that went. I was trying to hold on to it so tight. And I just remember I tried to brace myself on the grass. And here's the other thing, grass. You were being a bit salty, grass, because let me tell you, not only was that drop, it seemed like 10 feet, a 10-foot drop, the grass was super slickery slick with morning dew. And so it was lush, it was wet and slick. So I could not stop rolling. I was literally clutching at grass. By the time I made it down the side of the freeway to the feeder, I had grass stains. Of course, at this moment, I didn't realize that because I fell. And how many, raise your hand, comment down below. How many of you have tripped, and you get up acting like, oh, look, nothing happened. No, nothing to see here. That was my instant reaction when I literally crashed to the bottom of the freeway, like to the feeder. I rolled from the top of the freeway down to the feeder. And it's like, oh, nothing to see here. And in my mind, once again, in Angelica's delusion, I thought no one saw anything. No biggie. And I'm like doing this. Little do I know. I stand up. I'm like, oh my God, is my head still on? So I realize I don't have a shoe. And the shoe that did stay on was literally being held like with the ankle, like the strap that goes right before the ankle, and it was like flopping. So I had to fix that shoe, find the other shoe. I grabbed my purse, and things were like sprawled all over like the side of the grassy hill from the freeway. So I get all that stuff. Again, my adrenaline's going, super embarrassing. And how dumb of me, because even when I get up, I'm like, did anyone see anything? I'm sure everyone saw everything. It was horrendous, I'm sure. So I grab all my stuff and I go, okay, I'm gonna cross the road. There's like I want to say there was a little plaza, but for some reason I said, I feel like I need to go to that office building. So I walked over to that office building. And when I say walk, again, silly me, that just downplays the disaster that I was. This is literally me trying to play it off like nothing happened. This was my walk. This was my gait. I was literally hobbling. I looked ridiculous, I'm sure. And again, this is like late 90s. Thank goodness that cell phones and video and social media was not a thing. Because if someone captured that fall on video, it would have been a meme. It would have been a meme. So I hobble on down to this office building. I do not even know what I look like. In my mind, I thought, just little, get the dirt off your shoulder there. You'll be fine. Nothing major happened. So I walk into the office building, and there was a security guard. Like, as soon as you get in there, you got to check in with security, I guess, because, it's an office building with different businesses there. And he's like, oh. And he kind of like did this like, oh. So when he did that, I was like, ah. And I'm trying to play it off like nothing to see here. Nothing happened to me just now. But clearly something happened because he reacted that way. And he goes, oh my gosh, are you okay? And I didn't realize this. I go, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. But then when he asked that, I could not keep it together anymore. I was like, I'm fine. I started to cry and bawl because it was like, mainly out of embarrassment, mainly out of like, why did this happen? Just unbelievable. And my first thing, my instinct was, I have to call the people the job that I was going to go interview for, because I felt like I really need this job. But, this is almost like the dog ate my homework, but like it literally did. And you have to convince people this isn't a lie. So I'm crying with the security guard, and he clearly is like, oh, let me get you, like, here's a napkin. And again, I do not realize what is going on with Angelica. I'm still thinking in my mind that I probably look close to what I walked out the door this morning. Like, I'm still thinking I'm dressed up. So he's like giving me a napkin, and he goes, do we need to file a report? Do we need to call the police? Do I need to get the... And when he said that, police, I just kind of was like, you know, I was like blowing my nose and dabbing tears. I'm like, huh? And he goes, do you know who did this? I'm like, what? And then I kind of came to and I realized, I'm like, oh, and before I could explain, he goes, were you not mugged? I was like, no. And so then his like face changed from like caring to like, what? I go, I don't know, but my car, I had a flat tire and my car's literally right there on the freeway. And I rolled down the hill. I fell over the freeway wall, rolled down the hill. And I think, and I'm just like mumbling, bubbling, stumbling over all my words. And right away, this security guard's like, are you telling that? Like, he went from, oh my gosh, let me help you, to, are you a scam? Are you trying to scam me? So I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I'm still clearly, you know. So he goes, all right, I guess I'll let you use the phone. You need to call, you need to go ahead and make your calls, and, you know, almost like you need to scram. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And so I use the phone. He lets me go into like behind his desk. And I called the job that I was going to interview at, tell them that I'm running late. And they tell me, look, silver linings, by the way, as luck would have it, as fate would have it, that the office manager that was supposed to interview me called in sick. So they asked to reschedule this interview. I was like, yes. And they were like, yeah, we called you at your home, but they said you had left already. We left a message there. Again, people, remember, I do not have a cell phone. Some people had cell phones, but 19-year-old me did not own a cell phone. I call my aunt and I tell her what happened, and she's like, oh my gosh. And she was a stay-at-home mom, so she comes to pick me up. And so after I hang up with her, the security guard, still kind of like side-eyeing me, just kind of like, I don't know about you. He goes, you know, ma'am, I think you need to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, no, actually, I don't. He goes, no, you need to go to the bathroom. You need to, something's going on. Again, I'm still like hyped up on adrenaline. My life flashed before my eyes, rolling down the hill. So I go to the restroom and I walk in. Luckily, no one was in there. And as soon as I look in the mirror, oh my, I did not realize how ridiculous I looked. Let me tell you. So I had my hair like half up, half down, and I had this like in a bun. The bun was not bunning. The bun was like hanging on, like literally just, and looked crazy. I don't know how, I guess maybe from the sweat and the morning dew, mascara running on my face, and only on one side of my face. I'm assuming maybe that's the side that really hit the ground. Okay, smeared face. I literally had grass in my ears, like it stuck in the earrings, grass. My shirt, shoulder, mud, grass stains. My shoes, literally busted. I didn't even realize one of the shoes that I had on was like, hello, like the front, like split open like a banana. One of them. The khaki skirt, the pencil skirt that I had on, just grass stain, mud stain, freeway stains, life flash before your eyes stains. It was insanity. It looked like somebody was painting on a canvas. It was so bad. I did not realize how ridiculous I looked. And I still had like dirt under my nails, just mud. In that restroom, I was literally with like pumping soap, just trying to fix myself up. I pulled my hair up. The shoes were beyond help. The blouse, I was trying to get rid of some stains, but at this point, I just wanted to clean myself as best as I could. And I walked outside, and the security guard did get me like a cup of coffee, one of those little styrofoam cups of coffee. He said, you can sit there, but he was still kind of like, I don't know about you. And I was like, it sounds ridiculous that I fell off the top of the freeway. I get it. I had one knee that was kind of like, scraped. I even had a scrape on my elbow. And one detail that I left out, when I fell down the side of the freeway and stopped, my pencil skirt was up to my face, like literally rolling down the hill. Whoever watched got a free show, because by the time I hit the bottom of that feeder from the top of the freeway, my skirt was over my face. Not very demure. So my aunt came to pick me up. At some point, we kind of waited till the tow truck got there to the top of the freeway. We met them up there to give them the keys and figure it all out. And my tire got fixed. The next day I went back to that interview. I did get that job. I worked there for quite some time, and there's that. But that's the story. The time I fell off the side of the freeway. And if you find yourself in a similar situation, just know that the shoulder freeway wall is super deceiving in some spots. Because if you do, pay attention, some of the walls, they do drop. They are like longer or taller than the inside when you're on the freeway. But this particular spot, it was a drop. It was literally, I swear, it was like a 10-foot drop. It felt even further than that. And I showed you the picture of where the spot was at. Those trees were not that big. As a matter of fact, some of those trees, I don't even think they were there, because this happened like over 20 years ago. Just think about that. I'm giving away my age. So yeah, super embarrassing. And for those of you that know this story, you already know the details. I've told it before, but I just thought I'd share this story because we have a lot of new subscribers that don't even know this story. So there, the time I fell off the side of the freeway, super embarrassing. Not my finest moment. Wasn't demure. I wasn't considerate. Neither was a freeway, by the way. Thanks a lot, Freeway and City of Houston. Whoever designed that freeway, that was a doozy. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the story time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.